Boy, oh boy. This should be funny. Get over and follow the nerdrotic. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. You know, I think only one person jumped in my comment section to defend this movie.
nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. It's time to review another Disney movie. And believe it or not, they've had a pretty rough year. Sure, they have the one and only film to pass $1 billion at the box office in 2025 so far, Lilo and Stitch, which we will get to. And later on...
The animated one was better, though.
This year, they're releasing James Cameron's Fire and Ass, which will gross the GDP of a mid-sized European country. And the vast majority of moviegoers who go see that film will forget about it by the time they get to their car. But unfortunately...
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the second one. I plan on watching it again. I do. I gotta... when did I buy the new TV? What's it called? The G24 or something? Anyway, I got a new LG, and that's really nice. That's the one I game on now. It's got a setting for gaming and everything. It detects it automatically. And it's great. It's great. And I want to watch it on there. That's what I want to do. I hope they do come out with a director's cut. I really do. He talking about this like a 6-hour director's cut. I'll watch it too. I swear to God, I'll do it. Maybe not in one sitting, but I'll watch it. I think his visuals are astounding, considering how much time he works on his movies. They should be, but yeah.
Fortunately for the House of Mouse, all of those profits and potential profits are going to get gobbled up by all the flops. Snow White flopped, Elio flopped, Captain African American flopped, Thunderbolts flopped, and the Fantastic Four Missteps flopped. But there is still hope for Bob Iger, the guy who promised to focus more on quality over quantity for the
which he didn't do. And they kept alluding to the fact that they're going to stop woking everything up. And they were back. See, that's the reason why they kept saying they were back. Because everyone knows what was irritating the hell out of the majority of the crowd. And they're still doing the same thing.
That's 3 years in a row. And he also said they were going to focus more on original content right before he announced more unnecessary prequels, sequels, and live-action remakes of animated films. There's the aforementioned Avatar, Zootopia 2, and Tron Ares, a film admittedly very early on I was looking forward to. I've been a fan.
Zootopia any good? Someone let me know. I'll watch the first one if I get a chance, you know what I mean? Do a review maybe. And, maybe I'll go see the second one or something. It's probably already been out, but I've always heard of Zootopia, but I was never interested in watching it. Some of the animated movies I am, but not all of them all the time,
And of Tron since I went to see it back in 1982 when it blew my 11-year-old mind. And despite rubber-faced Jeff Bridges, I'm a fan of Tron Legacy. Yes, of course, it has one of the greatest OSTs of all time. The world misses you, Daft Punk. Tron is definitely a cult classic, and one could argue Legacy is a cult classic. And I think both films are really neat. While Tron as a franchise is conceptually cool, I can acknowledge that it's never reached its highest potential as far as storytelling is concerned. And while I didn't believe for a minute that current era Disney could reach that potential, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw the first trailer because it didn't completely suck. But as time went on and more trailers were released,
I really liked the first trailer.
Hope started to wane, and it certainly didn't help when Bruce Boxleitner, who plays Tron and Captain Sheridan, Hail B5, revealed that he wasn't even asked to be in the film.
Because I was asked constantly, are you in it? Are you in it? Are you in it? I said, no, they didn't ask. Simple as that. I don't know, and that's the way it is, and I wish them luck.
Dashing any hopes that they would maybe do what they did in Legacy and reveal Tron later in the Tron film, so I don't want to bury the lead. This is a Tron film without Tron. Still, it's got a Nine Inch Nails soundtrack and some cool visuals that I could see in IMAX 3D. How bad could it be?
When I literally was sitting in the movie, I was like, I think I should have saw this in 3D, but that was before I got into the movie more and realized how boring it was. But the visuals were really good. I was like, oh, I should have went to see this in 3D or even 4DX. You know me. I used to go see all the big movies in what? 4DX. But everything's been so disappointing that I refuse to chance that amount of money anymore.
Never thought it was going to be great, but I didn't think I would hate it this much, because fuck this movie. I hate absolutely everything it represents, and I absolutely agree with what could be the headline of the year. Tron Ares is so bad it makes you wish AI would hurry up and destroy Hollywood. A symbolic film populated by some of the most aggressively charmless characters ever seen in a blockbuster. Well, I have to agree with everyone's favorite Ginge, Dave Cullen, when he said the term slop is a little bit overused, but it's applicable here because Tron Ares is quintessential 2025 Disney slop with a heavy dose of girl bossing, with some of the worst acting and dialogue you will see in any film this year. And yes, the acting in Snow White is better. I don't think there's ever been a movie that's pissed me off this fast, like within the first minute. Remember the ending to Tron Legacy? Goodbye, kiddo.
You paged me? I need you at NCOM at 8 a.m. What about the board? You're chairman now.
What's next, Sam?
I guess we're supposed to change the world.
Yeah, well, fuck all that, because within the first minute of the film, they get rid of Sam Flynn by saying he left the company for personal reasons, and that's it. No further explanation needed, because we need to get right into the Disney MO, their modus operandi, which is getting rid of legacy characters who more often than not are white straight males and replacing them with strong diverse female protagonists. So what kind of a sequel is this? Is it a midquel, an interquel, an intraquel, a paraquel? Well, apparently it's a legacy sequel. No, not a sequel to Tron Legacy. A legacy sequel begins a new storyline while acknowledging and sometimes reintroducing elements from the original to attract new fans. And it's not like Tron has a huge fan base, but I guarantee you this will alienate almost all of them. And Disney's rationale from this decision, from producer Justin Springer: it's a new story. It's not a sequel to Legacy. It's a new Tron story that does exist within the same mythology.
Because this is a failure, I think that they will probably make one more. They'll probably chance another Tron, but make it a sequel to Legacy, since they know they effed up with this.
Nothing that was in the story of Legacy or in the original Tron film feels left behind so much or overwritten. I mean, except for abandoning the Flynn family storyline and ejecting Sam so diverse female protagonists can take over Kevin Flynn's company.
Eve Kim. She's following in her sister's footsteps.
Simply put, Tron Ares is the Terminator Dark Fate of Tron films. And it's not like the story is filled with any overt messaging aside from all the girl bosses. The story doesn't exist. Some may argue it feels like it's written by AI. I would argue it feels like it's written by HR. The premise goes a little something like this. Bad company that wants to do bad things owned by the toxic white male is racing against the good company that wants to do good things owned by the strong, diverse female protagonist to be the first to develop essentially the Star Trek replicator on steroids. Through some magic gobbledygook 3D printing sorcery, they're able to manifest out of absolutely nothing things like giant vehicles, trees, fruit, people. And I can hear you now, dear audience member. This has been done a million times in science fiction before, and I'm sure at some point in the film they'll explain this.
Nope. Nope.
You serious?
The bad company that wants to do bad things is, of course, the Dillinger Corporation, because we could still use that from Legacy, and it's also run by a Dillinger. No, not Edward. They got a new one, Julian. He is the creator of Ares, who is an advanced and sophisticated artificial intelligence and the master controller of the Dillinger Grid. And somebody at Disney thought it was a good idea to cast Jared Leto in the semi-titular role as the guy who isn't Tron in the Tron movie. And through the magic-y gobbledygook 3D printing sorcery, they're able to bring him into the real world, and there are endless militaristic applications. There's one problem, though. He only lasts 29 minutes in the real world. But to be fair, and I don't mean to throw my fellow dudes under the bus here, but I got to keep it real. According to a lot of ladies, that's long past the average time. But that's a little detail toxic white male CEO of the bad company left out.
Maybe I'll do a video one day on how to.
During his investor presentation. And this brings
you damn right, yeah. Hey, we're 60-minute men, daddy. Woo!
happened, the Permanence Code, and Eve Kim, played by the Oscar-nominated actress Greta Lee. The Permanence Code, surprisingly enough, does exactly as described. It makes anything brought into the real world permanent.
Very original, Captain.
And it turns out Kevin Flynn has had it all along. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with the ISOs from Legacy, considering Cora is in this world, alive and permanent. Nope, this film is doing something completely different, yet the same. Eve Kim and her diverse personal assistant go to Kevin Flynn's bunker in Alaska in search of this Permanence Code, where they find it pretty easily. Then they create an orange tree on the top of a mountain in Alaska that lasts longer than 29 minutes pretty easily. Now, I'm not against exploring other things in the Tron mythology, and I'm not against new characters. Hell, I'm not even against there not being a Tron in the Tron film. But after the first few minutes, the filmmakers unceremoniously get rid of Sam Flynn, only to replace him with strong, diverse female protagonist, and then directly connect it to Kevin Flynn. It makes it hard not to see Tron Ares for what it is. A modern Disney film. You know, the same company that did the same thing to Star Wars, the same thing to Marvel, the same thing to Willow, the same thing to National Treasure. Another soulless, repurposed piece of content and a cash grab that's not going to make any cash. Anyway, back to the plot breakdown.
Sometimes I wish I could go in a super-powered, time-traveling DeLorean and run into the Disney boardroom. No! Don't do it! Don't buy Marvel! Don't buy Star Wars! Don't do it, trust me! No! I wish I could. To stop the mayhem, the carnage, the death of these many IPs that they have done. Oh my God.
Obviously trying to avoid, because basically the plot just serves as a surface level series of events to get us to the next action and special effects set piece. Dillinger's toxic white male CEO, using Ares, is able to hack into Encom's grid, where they're able to download all of Eve's...
No, in Disney though, they wouldn't listen to me. They'd just be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Data and then
and they would do it anyway.
But not to worry, our girl boss of color has the code on a thumb drive. Julian Dillinger then 3D prints another copy of Ares and the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte, which brings us to the admittedly cool-looking light cycle chase scene in the city. Ares catches up with the girl boss of color, who destroys the thumb drive. As Ares' 29 minutes are up, he starts to de-res, but he notices that Eve has sympathy for him after she discovers that he's a program. Right after that, Eve gets sucked into the Dillinger grid by one of the toxic white male CEO's goons using a particle gun. And it's at this point Eve becomes the MacGuffin. Since she has now been digitized, they can extract it from her disk or her mind inside the grid, which would permanently delete her or kill her. And of course, toxic white male greedy corpo CEO doesn't have a single problem with this. It's at this point Ares, who's been straying from his programming throughout the film, turns on his maker and offers to save the strong, diverse female protagonist in exchange for becoming a real boy. Ares and Eve eventually are able to escape the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte and the Dillinger grid, where they go back to Encom and...
By the way, remember in my I think in my review, or in the review Critical Drinker did that I reacted to, when I told you I sat up in my chair at one point, and I was like, all right, let's get going. And then I realized that it just quickly left me. That was the coolest part. Like at that point, I was just like, I was so bored. And then when that happened, I was like, okay. Well, it was the part where he grabs
and the Dillinger
right there.
Where they go back
I was
to
like, oh, okay.
Office, which is now a museum, where they could
didn't get no better after that.
Possibly find a backup to the Permanence Code. And wouldn't you know it, they find Kevin Flynn's old computer that has a backup to the Permanence Code, meaning they never really had to go to Alaska to that bunker because the Permanence Code was in the building. Anyway, This is where the third act gets resolved with nostalgia, including a preceding line from Ares saying, I like the 80s.
80s. I like the 80s.
I love Lamp. I love Lamp.
Love the 80s.
And before the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte is
Good
able to
old
stop
days.
them, Ares gets downloaded into the grid of the original Tron film. Remember the grid of the original Tron film? You might have noticed I haven't mentioned Gillian Anderson, who plays Elizabeth Dillinger, mother to Julian, because she does fuck all in this movie. Other than being a girl boss, yes, I know, she wasn't in charge, but she spent the entire...
Yeah, I was about to say, I felt like I was about to disagree and say I felt like she wasn't a girl boss. The Asian girl was kind of a girl boss, but the short-haired black woman, they always try to do that to our women, and that's not an unattractive black woman. But they always try to do something to make them look hard and rough and tough and slightly more mannish. Okay, Austin Powers. And, cut their hair. They do something, like the intergalactic stuff. Like, I get so sick and tired of that. They made her a girl boss, though. Yeah.
Her film berating her son and threatening to take his job away from him, which she had the power to do, and guess what? She took his job away from him. Unfortunately, that was right when Julian printed a new version of the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte and made her master controller. And then Scully is killed by the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte, who just finished printing, and now she's off to go stop Ares and strong, diverse female protagonist. Again, back on the grid from the 1982 Tron film, Ares finally meets an aspect of Flynn, who apparently ages the exact same amount of time since the last Tron film that Disney completely ignored. And Jeff Bridges' big cameo was less than 5 minutes, and it only existed so he could hand over the permanence code to Ares and not ask about his son. Oh, and that big invasion from the digital world into the real world we were promised in the trailers just ended up being the lesbian space witch, a couple of her girlfriends, and one recognizer. And humanity's response to this strange recognizer just destroyed
He's laughing.
And a helicopter and 2 jets. And the 2 jets were piloted by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Eve and her supporting cast, whose names I can't be bothered to remember, hack into the Dillinger mainframe and take it down.
Yeah.
And that massive invasion from the digital world that consisted of 1 recognizer and 3 women is stopped in its tracks, and the lesbian space witch from the Acolyte dies. But because she is strong, diverse female antagonist, they made sure it was sympathetic. Even Ares part as good friends, because why would you have a heteronormative romance in a Disney film? Even her company Encom, which she ran so much better than Sam and Kevin Flynn, is now off to make the world a better place. And Ares is off to live amongst the people as AI Jesus. And the Disney film ends with Julian Dillinger escaping to the ruins of his grandfather's grid and becoming Sark. And the only reason I didn't walk out of this film was to review it, and because I was with my son, who I later found out wanted to walk out. And again,
told you I wanted to walk out 3 times, man. I was.
Story is not overtly filled with the message outside of its obviously mandated girl boss casting from Disney that's become so predictable, it's hilarious. The lesbian space witch from the Acolyte is our strong, diverse female antagonist and sympathetic villain. Gillian Anderson as Elizabeth Dillinger, who again should have just been the villain of this show, always has the position of power. They make it abundantly clear that she handed her son, Julian, who she doesn't like very much, all the power just so he can be around to fuck up long enough so she can take it back. And when she's eventually killed, her dying words were to her son, not "I love you," is "This is all because of you." You're the one who put him in power. And then, of course, there's Greta Lee's Eve Kim, which is an absolutely nothing of a character. I have to agree with Mark Cookies when she said Eve is the Rey Skywalker of Tron Ares.
I liked the mom more than I liked her. As a matter of fact, my favorite female actor in the movie was the mom that died. She was good. I liked her. She was boring, so boring. And I knew exactly what they were doing with the black woman. So, it's...
Although Daisy Ridley did a better job acting. For those of you out there who might correctly point out that Greta Lee was nominated for an Academy Award, I would respond by saying a dude was nominated for Best Actress. And for whatever reason, the script, her skills, or both, she was abysmal in this. To be fair, everyone's dialogue was horrible, but at least Gillian Anderson can make it sound good. But Greta Lee was a plank of wood in this, and her character was paper thin. You know it's bad when your strong, diverse female protagonist's entire characterization is told through 2 exposition dumps. One visual when Tron Ares accesses her phones and it acts like the memory store from Doctor Strange's mom. And the second exposition dump is verbal when Ares explains the entirety of Eve's quality, conflict, and motivation to Eve. And since I can't play the clip, I'll just read it to you. Thanks to our friend Little Platoon on X Twitter, an actual dialogue exchange from Tron Ares, spoken while driving a Honda Civic across a bridge at high speed. For the record, I don't think you have anything to be ashamed of. Space Paranoids is entertainment.
Yeah, they stole some dude's car that worked at like a gas station.
Hundreds of millions. Plus, it's a pretty cool game. Anyway, you told your sister that designing games left you feeling hollow, broken. Was it that your work was about entertainment and profits, and her work was about improving the human condition? Your text suggests a certain fixation with not being able to live up to her standards, which must have been complicated, especially considering she was the younger sister. By the way, I don't think you should quit. Your plan upon returning from the mountains, if I read you correctly, was to hand over the permanence code to Encom and let them figure out what to do next. Now I understand. You completed your work as a way to be connected to her. And yes, Greta Lee's Eve Kim is very much a Mary Sue, who starts out the film pretty remarkable, but she doesn't believe in herself. But once she starts to believe in herself, she's pretty remarkable. Then there's Jared Leto's Ares, who is just flat. We know the dude can act, he's just not a lead, and Hollywood needs to stop trying. Ares goes through some minor trials and tribulations in the first few minutes of the film, but there is no point where there's any tension that's going to make you think anything other than, oh, he's totally going to survive and get everything he wants by the end. And Ares had his Gary Stu moment at the end when he meets Jeff Bridges' Kevin Flynn for under 5 minutes, who finds him so remarkable, he just gives him what he needs and doesn't ask about his son. And yes, Jeff Bridges was completely wasted in this film, and so was Gillian Anderson, who probably should have been the bad guy. And yes, the toxic white male CEO is yet another Elon Musk allegory. I just finished watching Alien Earth, and there's a character named Boy Cavalier. Believe it or not, an Elon Musk allegory. Poor Jodie Turner-Smith. I hope she finds a role that eclipses being the lesbian space witch from Acolyte, because that's all I could think of when I saw her in this.
Yes, yes.
So buckle up, folks, because the bad guy in every
blockbuster
for the foreseeable future is going to be AI until AI takes over. And more often than not, oh hell, every time, it'll be controlled by some form of a toxic white male incel. And like Alien Earth with Tron Ares, you had some interesting concepts that were completely wasted. This is why you need smart people writing science fiction. You gotta work at verisimilitude. I can believe a light cycle would work in the real world, or you could digitally print edible fruit. At least throw out some bullshit like you reversed the polarity or manifested it through quantum entanglement, instead of, and I quote, a $6 million particle laser that creates organic material out of nowhere. Kinda crazy, right? And yes, the special effects are good and meaningless because there's no story to support them. Give me engaging characters and a good story over special effects any day. Hell, it worked for years with shows like The X-Files, Star Trek, and Doctor Who, and movies like Tron. If you turn the sound down on this movie and just watch it, you could still follow it. Speaking of sound, there's that Nine Inch Nails OST, so Disney could repeat the success of the Daft Punk OST, which didn't happen. I would say it's good, and at some points, really good, but not great. And it sounded like what it was, a band who had just gotten back together who was also decades past their prime. And this brings us back to Lilo and Stitch, which I mentioned earlier in the video, the, so far, #1 movie of the year, which should worry everyone. I said this back in my Snow White review, and nothing has changed with Tron Ares. Forget Disney adapting other stories from Marvel or Star Wars, they don't even know how to adapt themselves. And because of the success of Lilo and Stitch, we're gonna get a hell of a lot more of it, and not just from Disney, from other studios too. And it's fine to do unnecessary live-action remakes of animated films that aren't really live-action remakes, or unnecessary sequels and prequels when you have a healthy industry. But if this is all they've got, Hollywood is fucked.
Kind of live action.
It's human AI. When innovation dies, your industry dies. And this may come as shocking news. It looks like Tron Ares is going to be another Disney flop. Keep in mind, the original domestic opening estimates for Tron Ares were $50 million. But according to the Hollywood Reporter box office, Tron hits the skids with $33.5 million opening. That's less than Morbius. And on a $180 million budget, things are looking grim. And not just for Disney, for Hollywood and the poor theaters. It's gone from surviving to...
I was in the theater wondering how this was going to do compared to Morbius. Yes, Morbius was better. I will gladly watch Morbius right now compared to this movie, man.
25 to survive 25. Now, 2023 was the year of the flop buster. 2024 was the year of the woke buster. And it's pretty clear this is the year of the slop buster.
nerdrotic.com.
Good job, man. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, trust me, save yourself some money. Oh, man. Oh, it was painful watching that movie. Post the comments down below. Let me know what you think, though. If you enjoyed my reaction, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. 10 million subscribers.